Buying my first house changed my finances forever. It actually changed my life forever, man. I almost didn't do it. And one reason was just one simple mistake. That mistake was discouragement. Do not be discouraged, man. Do it. Just do it. There's no such thing as the right time. Watch this video. It should help you. Hey, how you doing, guys? It's my channel, man. I talk about wealth, finance, credit, things of that nature, man. I'm real business savvy, and I'm just getting into speaking and helping people to understand. Uh, I had somebody ask me a question, man. Said, "You don't have a job. How did you buy a house? How did you get into real estate? How did you do?" First of all, I own a business. I own a couple businesses, but I'm gonna tell you what my first. We're gonna talk about a little story on my first home buying experience, man. This is how to buy a house 101 if you own a business, and it's so simple to own a business. We can go to LegalZoom, get your LLC, and now you own a business. Simple. So this is what happened to me, right? I was driving and I seen these new builds. And when I seen these new builds, I'm like, damn, those some tight houses. And I already have been working on my credit because already like I had bad credit. I got incarcerated. I had bad credit. I fixed my credit. I built my credit, real good credit now, right? But I'm noticing every month when I pay this rent, I'm getting more and more reluctant to pay because it's like, damn, I'm paying these people house off. This is a good gimmick. I gotta do this. So I'm like, I'm driving past these new builds and I walk in there and I'm like, uh, what do I need to do to get this home? Well, I'm regular from the streets, got on basketball shorts, t shirt, dirty tennis shoes, but the Mercedes. The lady looked at me and said, man, she kind of brushed me off. Nobody in there wanted to help me, but she looked at me and said, man, look, I'm gonna tell you something. You gotta have this, that, and that, and that. So she told me all the things that I needed, and I looked up and said, but I got good credit and I got a lot of cash. She said, life don't work that way. So she basically gave me all the tools that I needed mentally to get prepared to physically go back and fix this situation. And the situation was I wanted to purchase that home. So I own a business. I'm a dog breeder, whatever. That's not really recognized in that world. Dog breeding or not dog breeding, but dog just services, pet services, period. That's what I do. So uh she like, yeah, I don't think you're gonna qualify, but call this dude right here. He gonna fix it for you. So I went back home and I start brainstorming. How can I file taxes that high to where I can afford to get this home? Because that's the main thing. At that point, now they have bank statement programs and all this stuff, but this at that point, the recession already happened and the market had, back then you could just go with some fake check stubs and buy a home. But then the market crashed because of that and they changed everything. So at this point in time, it was like you need taxes, period. So anybody asking me about buying a home, I already know the answer. You need taxes. You need to have paid taxes. Simple as that. So I'm like, dang, I don't pay taxes. Got this company, I make money off this company, but I don't pay taxes. How can I make it to where I pay taxes? So I'm gonna tell you how to manipulate that. And we're gonna talk about the word manipulation because when people hear the word manipulation, they think of a negative aspect. Manipulation is positive. Manipulation could be anything. Let me show you something. Hold on. Let me show you something. Okay. We got this box right here, right? We got this can. This can obviously cannot fit in this box. So what we have to do is manipulate this box for this can to somehow go inside of it and the box can hold the can. So we manipulated and maneuvered it to get this can in this box, even though it ripped. And that's part of the manipulation process. Have to bend and break or whatever you got to do to manipulate the situation to work the way you need it to work. So that goes to show that manipulation is not always a negative word. You get what I'm saying? So I'm like, dang, I have to manipulate my situation to pay taxes because I don't pay taxes. So I don't have high to you got, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not showing that I make a lot of income because I don't want to pay taxes. So I'm like, all right, let me see. She like, you need to make at least 85,000 a year to get this type of loan for this house. Now it's a lot higher just based on interest rates and property value is higher and all the stuff, right? We'll get into that later. But she like, you need to make 86,000 or something a year to purchase this home with your current bills and the things that you got going on. That's what you need to make. So I'm like, I make well over that. Yeah, but you don't have it on paper. So call this dude, whatever. By the time I called that dude, which was a lender, I already had figured out what I need to do. So what I did was I forgot I had a trucking company at that time too. So I had this trucking company with my cousin. We hauled cars. We had a car hauler, we had a 5 car hauler, we had a dually, and we had a driver and we hauled cars, right? Uh so what I ended up doing, I'm gonna give y'all some game. Pay close attention to this. In order to have real taxes, you have to pay real taxes. So what I did was I gave him majority of the shares of the company because we can both be owners, right? But if you own 20% or less of the company, you're considered an investor. Now, the person who owns the more percentage is considered the owner of the company. But on paper, both our names on company. So I gave him 80% of the company. I took 20. Now I'm considered an investor. When you're an investor, you can actually be an employee. So now I work for the company. So now me working for the company, I have to get paid by the company. So what I did was I went to ADP, which is a payroll company. I'm sure a lot of people see that on top of their paycheck. ADP is a big payroll company. I went to ADP. I set up the payroll. I put myself on the payroll. And I'm like, in order to make $86,000 a year, I need to make X amount of money a month. And I need to be able to afford all my bills and afford that house times two. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make it to where I make about 90,000 a year. So I paid every 2 weeks I would get direct deposit from that business account from that trucking company into my personal account, and I would make about like I don't remember the exact number, probably 8,200 a month. So I would do like 4,100 every 2 weeks, right? Now this is the part that real you have to be real conditioned and real disciplined with this part right here because you got to remember now when you get paid that much at your regular job, they take a lot of taxes out and you got to be able to just sit there and deal with that and pay them taxes every 2 weeks. So I will put 4,100 into that account. They would do a direct deposit and they would take the taxes out. The taxes will be about 12 or 1300, something to that nature, every 2 weeks, right? Now, mind you, I'm making straight cash flow with this company. And on top of me making straight cash flow with this company, I'm owners with my cousin. We're